As we continue to celebrate the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, we have one of Harlem's greatest rappers with us as a solo artist or as part of Dipset. Cam'ron's contribution to the genre is undeniable. He's hosting the YouTube sports show, It Is What It Is, alongside another great Harlemite, Mace. Cam'ron joining us here for the first time on Good Day New York.
How you doing?
You know, I heard you were coming and that you really get very fresh, and I'm like, what can I wear?
Now listen, you look beautiful.
What can I wear to impress Cam? Because
you're glittering, you're shining. It looks great.
And
you could look at Cam's teeth and tell that there was some sort of operation done. You know, these celebrities, obviously, they do what they got to do to maintain their quote-unquote youth. You could look at Cam and tell that he got his teeth and shit done.
This is like, it's a whole new you, Cam.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And you got to reinvent yourself when you've been doing this. So look, hip-hop is 50 years old, and I've been doing this 25 years old. So if you don't reinvent yourself, you're going to be looking at a 1997 camera. But thank you so much.
And now you got a sports show, which is so cool. Now, I know you were into basketball, right?
Absolutely.
So this is perfectly, I can see the pathway here.
Yeah. So what happened is this. They've been coming to me for years to do a podcast and do this type of thing and that type of thing. And I'm like, see, you're better than me. I don't want to talk to people for a living if that's going to make my living. So I'm like, I love sports and I need to be on television. People always offer me things to do on television. So I'm like, let me create my own show, not somebody give me a show and see how it goes. And it's been really successful so far.
So have you gotten into like the reporter interviewer head? Because, you know, sometimes you have to ask questions that are a little sensitive.
No, absolutely. Like, so, you know, we're a little edgy on my show, but we just had Lenny Cook on the show. We had Swaggy P on the show. Joe Keeps knowing. We had a lot of different former people who are playing and people who retired, but you're absolutely right. I have to get into my journalist bag if I'm going to do this, but it's been going great so far.
Okay.
And the reason why he's able to get his show is, you know, his willingness to capitulate, his willingness to follow the orders when it comes to the elite, when it comes to that world. You know, he's been a part of the entertainment industry for almost 30 years, so he's seen it all. Especially the levels that a lot of people aren't privy to when it comes to the dark aspect. There's a reason why you see certain album covers on Confessions of Fire of him throwing up the horns. You see many different elements of his alignment with the Luciferian aspect.
You didn't mention Ben Gordon, which is trending. Cam, how dare you? You think I don't know about this?
So look, let me explain what happened to Ben Gordon. It's funny, my brother's over here who started this whole thing. So I did a report on Ben Gordon, and I'm not going to talk about Ben. Shout out to Ben. What's up, Ben? And he didn't like it so much, so he tried to get at me, so I got back at him. But it's all fun and games. You know, I love Ben. I got a lot of love for Ben.
You weren't scared what Ben was saying, right?
Not a little bit. Nah, Ben is cool. Like, Ben's my man. It's all fun and games.
So it's all...
At least on my behalf, I think it's all fun and games. I don't have a problem.
So it's settled. It's okay. You've moved on. No sewing needles that we have to worry about from anybody.
You got to ask Ben about them sewing needles. I ain't have nothing to do with the sewing needles, but as far as I'm concerned, it's over with. I love Ben Gordon. If he has a problem with me, hopefully we get on the phone and fix it.
Yo, Ben Gordon was nice in his day. He was nice in his day. I remember last time I saw Ben Gordon play, or like the last memory I have of Ben Gordon was 2009. When the Chicago Bulls went against the Celtics in the 2009 playoffs, the first round, probably the greatest first round of all time. That fucking first round was amazing. Like, that was the last memory I have of Ben Gordon where he was spectacular. That series was just crazy, a crazy-ass first-round series.
All right, so you haven't talked yet.
Not yet. But we got.
So how do you know you're good, Cam?
I said I'm good. I don't know if he's good. Now, if we see each other and we not good, then we just got to fix it right then and there. But hopefully that won't happen.
Okay, and that's really the only part of your problems right now, right? I mean, everything else is smooth sailing.
Even that's not even a problem. Trust me, like, we are mutual friends. That's just all internet stuff.
And you and Mace, I mean, you've had your issues here and there.
Yeah.
But everything's cool now?
Yeah, well, you know, what happened with Mace is Mace got me my first record deal ever. So doing this show, creating this show, and having him be a part of it, it's felt like I'm giving back to him for helping me even be an entertainer. I may not have been where I'm at if he didn't take me to Biggie Smalls and get my first record deal, then get with Lance Rivera, then go to Rockefeller and sell all these millions of records. So I want to pay him back, and this show hopefully could do that.
Oh, that's
Yeah, Cameron was able to meet Big. He almost got a record deal from Biggie Smalls. And also the family aspect, with Cameron and his cousin Bloodshed, who passed away. He was a sacrifice for Cameron to take off. And nepotism is a big thing in the entertainment industry. You hear about all these artists where they have some sort of connection to somebody from the past that was a celebrity. Or, they may be like a cousin of some or something like that, like a lost cousin, some shit. You always hear about these connections to, these celebrities that you wouldn't even necessarily think of unless you did the research, like a Cameron almost getting signed by Biggie and stuff like that. I mean, it's not that far fetched because Cameron was still around that time. Like he was still like new on the scene. So I'm sure like there was some sort of like mutual people that knew Cameron as well as Biggie and so on and so forth. But you always hear about certain aspects of these connections with celebrities like now and how they, they met up with a celebrity from back then. Sometimes they, in some cases they may have passed away. In some cases they may haven't. But you always see that, like even with something as small or something as dissimilar, like Alicia Keys on the Bill Cosby Show, where she was just Alicia Cook. The keys represent her being put on the program, but still, like just that example of what I'm trying to lay out.
so nice. And
Right.
50 years of hip hop.
Crazy.
What a wonderful celebration anniversary. And it's
Crazy.
evolved a lot
Absolutely.
since you jumped
Absolutely.
in the game, right?
My first promo was a tape. So it went from tapes to CDs, and now we have stream.
You see that album cover right there for Confessions of Fire. You see the horns that he's throwing up, but he's throwing it up surreptitiously. We're going to get more into that image, but yeah, Cameron is someone who's definitely in alignment with, Luciferianism, esotericism. He's definitely been in situations where when you read it on face value in terms of the news regarding Cameron and someone who's passed away, he's been in multiple situations like that where his baby mother passed away, his girlfriend passed away, or somebody close to him. So, there's definitely some sort of element where he keeps reaching these heights because of those things. You know what I mean?
And absolutely evolved. So a lot of people be like, where do you see hip hop in 5 years? I'm like, I don't know, because 5 years ago it isn't like it is now, but to still be a part of it is a blessing. A lot of people get one and done, and you don't have to be around this long. So for me to still be here is dope.
And the youngins,
Yeah.
they're showing respect to you.
Yeah,
Drake, when he came to the Apollo, did he not try to channel a little Cameron?
Drake, first of all, Lil Wayne's my man, so Drake is my man, and Drake's number one in the game, period. Whether it's rap, whatever.
I love him.
Yeah.
Could you introduce me to him?
I can't make that promise, but I could put a phone call in and see what we could do.
Okay.
Yeah, Drake is a serpent, man. Drake is on the same level as a Jay-Z. You're on that same level. Drake is a serpent in the entertainment industry. Jay-Z might be a little bit higher than Drake, but they still in that same realm. You know what I mean?
But for him to come to Apollo and show Dipset love and then wear my jackets, and people don't have to do that. If you come to Apollo, you don't have to call Cam or Dipset or anybody else, especially if you're Drake. But for him to show love like that, much, much love. Shout out to the whole OVO and everybody up there.
What's going on with your music? Because I hear you're working on a track about your mother, which has got to be an emotional thing because you lost her a few months ago.
Yes, yes. You know what's going on. You in the loop. I see you're very much in the loop.
I mean, for him to just laugh that off like that, it seemed like, he's kind of like apathetic about it. Like your mom passed away and you saying, well, I mean, you know what's going on. You in the loop. And I know certain people mourn in different ways, but it just seemed weird that he didn't necessarily like have a somber tone with that. It was just, oh, you know what's going on, like, bro, your mom died. That's how you know that, could be some sort of sacrificial element to that as well when it comes to his mother passing away. Cameron pays tribute to his late mother, Frederica Giles, on Instagram. It's supposed to say Frederica, say Frederick. But pay attention to the color schemes. Like when it comes to these outlets that promote these stories or distribute these stories and whatnot, they understand color coding. They understand what that represents in regards to the sacrificial element, the Luciferian element, the esoteric element. So in this case, you have black, white, and red. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because you could go on another site and you see the same picture. So they use certain pictures to represent the overall tone of what this really means. Like you don't see just this picture on Vibe.com. You see this on another outlet talking about Cameron's mother passing away. You see the same picture because of the colors. The colors represent sacrifice. It represents death. While no official cause of death was revealed, Cameron had previously been open. See, no official cause of death was revealed. That also speaks to the sacrificial element, like some sort of nefarious aspect of what took place. While no official cause of death was revealed, Cameron had previously been open about her lingering health issues, which date as far back as 15 years ago. And mind you, she's, elderly and whatnot, so there could be a natural element to it, but when it comes to that world, it's always something to take note of in regards to the other element that is more prominent when it comes to the appeasement of the gods that they worship, sacrifice, so on and so forth. The 47-year-old rapper recently shared news of her death, which occurred earlier this month. On social media in a heartfelt post, the Harlem native began the post by detailing the events that led to his mother's health complications, which worsened after she suffered a stroke during the latter half of the 2000s. In 2007, my mom had a stroke, leaving her partially paralyzed on her left side and a speech impediment. He wrote in the caption, "If you follow her or was her friend on social media, you would never know any of that. She was witty, funny, intelligent, sarcastic, and outspoken. People would say, 'Cam, I know you're writing your mom's captions.' And I wasn't. I would see my mom's captions and say, 'Where are you learning this?' She tells me, 'Be easy, little homie.'" But yeah, man, like the color schemes, it all represents what it really means in regards to what they're really trying to convey. Because like I say in many of my videos, obviously they're not going to communicate with you overtly. They have to communicate with you with the colors, with, certain dates, numbers, so on and so forth. Black and white. So the black, white, and red element is there. And you also have the black and white. Obviously, we understand the Masonic component. And white representing sacrifice as well as black. White represents the aspect of the after sacrifice. Like, for instance, when Kobe Bryant passed away, you saw LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. They both wore white hoodies that represented the after sacrifice, like the after effect of the sacrifice. And she's wearing black because she was the subject of the sacrifice. That's what that represents. And obviously the black represents Saturn. They worship the goat. Black, red, and white. Beautiful mom. Beautiful family. But it's just one of those things where you understand that world. You can't be surprised by none of these things. You can't be surprised by none of these things. Just wanted to go into another element of sacrifice that's associated with Cameron.
Motherfucker, I ain't slept in days. I lay my lords down with raw sounds, clip and beacon more real. For soul clowns, I tore towns with 4 pounds. You can't stand me, man, cause now it's a merely Cam niggas writing dandy jams to sweeter than Cam. With all type of gimmicks, but Killa Cam's up to minutes from first half to Lennox. I bust lieutenants and panics with a 44 Johnny honey. And now I make Gotti money. Niggas wanna be cool, but couldn't piss in my potty money. And I snuck my nigga your daughter, bucking in order, bucking us quarter, vertical cops, knuckle reporters, sweat. Niggas like to the water. I got the check work. It's like look to war squad. It's like fraud tonight. I'm riding shit to start. Like shit to the house. That's Killa Cam. White. There we go. Check it out. Every verse ranks tier. I'm your worst nightmare. I rape your baby mother while you watch tied to a chair. Read my habit, that you can naturally semi-automatic static. I pull the trigger quick and I be on some nigga shit. You must have with it and got some heart. Fuck the bloodshed because I'm strong with midnight. I'm more deeper than the grave site going on the main night. I I even snap necks and play fights and break fights and slave nights and fight for gay rights. You fucking ain't right. Follow that ass to the daylight. Down with BBO on the
Bloodshed could more than hold his own with his extremely talented peers, as made clear on the Children of the Corn song Harlem Nights. As the bullets travel through your liver, this nigga Bloodshed is mad rough. Battling me is like jumping inside a river while you're handcuffed. He rapped, I stay in murder scandals and dust the fingerprints and burn the handles. I left Jehovah slain, I don't cry over pain cause I puff fat dons of Novocaine. Murder astrologist, mad cases of manslaughter. So obviously going into that Luciferian angle, that deeply enriched demonic angle, as well as the blasphemous angle when it comes to, just talking about Yahweh Shah HaMashiach in that way, Yahweh. This is just something that we shouldn't be surprised by, but at the same time, we should take note of the understanding when it comes to what these people are a part of and not necessarily just letting it go over our heads in regards to the content, because some of it is just, let me just rhyme these words, and for the most part, these people are deeply, they're immersed in that stuff. Just when it comes to the left hand and the diabolical aspect. On March 2nd, 1997, Bloodshed died unexpectedly in a car accident in New York. He was only 22 years old. Following Blood's death and the death of Big L in 1999, Children of the Corn officially disbanded because those two figures were sacrificed for the maintenance of a Cameron and the takeoff when it comes to him reaching certain heights with Dipset, him being a star. You already saw what happened subsequent from this event that took place where Big L and Bloodshed passed away, or Bloodshed and Big L passed away in that order. Then Cameron took off with his crew, with Dipset and whatnot. And, they're revered. They're looked at on the same level as a Lox. Just because of Cameron's willingness to, follow orders. The Lox, Wu-Tang, all these dudes, all these groups, they're all a part of the Luciferian angle. They're all a part of that world. They're all a part of that world. Some of them mask it with the whole 5% of Allah thinking that stuff is Luciferian too. Like all that stuff is Luciferian, man. So even though I say mask it, it's not necessarily a mask because it's still on the same plane. It's just that we don't really grasp that just because we look at the 5% thing as something that's the closest thing to righteousness to a degree. But it's not, because at the end of the day, it doesn't have anything to do with the Heavenly Father. It goes back to the people that rebelled against the Heavenly Father, who, they worship the numbers and whatnot, mathematics, divine mathematics, that go back to Kush. So when you hear these people like Allah, Asiatic, and all these people talking about divine mathematics, knowledge of self, peace, God, gods in the earths, that's all based in the people that led that ziggurat, the Tower of Babel, Kush and Nimrod. He was known as the numberer, divine mathematics, the creator of mathematics, so on and so forth. As a group, they never released a studio album before parting ways, but a compilation album, Children of the Corn, the collector's edition, was released in 2003. See, Children of the Corn is an allusion to the god of crops, the god of the cornfield, the god of harvest, as well as the goddess of harvest, the goddess of crops and whatnot, Demeter and Plutus. Demeter being a goddess of the harvest, and Plutus or Plutos being the god of harvest and crops. And it goes into the understanding that, when it comes to the film or the story of the Children of the Corn, as far as like the children who rebelled against adults by killing them after the age of 18, it's like a religious cult that was based in the worship of the god of the corn. And you see here Big L and the Enlightenment aesthetic in the middle, representing what his fate would be in regards to the sacrificial element, as well as Bloodshed. Bloodshed had a nomen omen, meaning a name sign, a signifier, and his name representing what would take place in regards to the sacrificial element. Cameron and Mace takes off based off of that. We already understand Mace, or if you guys don't understand Mace, he started out doing his thing with the rapping, with Diddy and whatnot, signing Bad Boy, and then he left. And, he wanted to take up religion and be a pastor and whatnot. But that was all part of the programming. That's all part of the programming, because came back and, pretty much was on that same vibration before he transitioned and went to the church route and whatnot. Calling himself Murder Mace, he was already called Murder Mace, so all that stuff is a part of the programming. All that shit is a smoke screen. But they took off Mace and Cameron based off of the sacrificial element when it comes to bloodshed and Big L. And that's what it is, man. And this is why Cameron is in the seat that he's in. But I just wanted to get more into the aspect of the children of the corn when it comes to what it means. Like I said, it's an allusion to the goddess and the god of crops and harvest, as well as the understanding of death when it comes to after the age of 18, any adult gets killed by one of the children of the corn. And you see how, they play on that vibration when it comes to this group here. The children of the corn were once the innocent children of the isolated town of Gately, Nebraska, who were corrupted by the wicked entity, he who walks behind the rows. Now, he who walks behind the rows is the god of the corn, is the god of the crops and the harvest. And led by Isaac, who acted as the human representative of the demon god spirit who led the evil cult in which the demon god was worshipped as a twisted depiction of the Christ. And that represents Heru, that represents the Baphomet, so on and so forth, Horus. And this goes into the understanding of why, the group known as Children of the Corn with Cameron, Mace, Bloodshed, and McGruff, and whatnot, Big L. This is why they named their group that, because they worship a dark entity. They worship the left-handed deity. And when it comes to what they rap about, that was the manifestation. This is why Big L rapped what he rapped. Like, if you listen to Big L raps, he be saying some real demonic, dark shit. And it was based in the programming aspect adjacent to the group that he was in, Children of the Corn. And we already understand that Children of the Corn, what they worship is a dark entity, a dark quote-unquote deity. So it goes into the understanding based in how the programming impacts the artists and how what they do, how they speak, what they rap about manifests. And it's pretty much aligned with, that type of vibration on the left-hand side, just when it comes to the group aspect and the name and whatnot. Children of the Corn going into the aspect of worshiping a deity that's dark and demonic, and they rap about that. They rap about the left-hand spirit. They rap about that dark demonic angle. Not to the degree where it's like specific, but they rap on par with it in terms of the killing and murder and stuff like that. Isaac spread the worship of his awful deity to all the older youth of the fictional town of Gately, and when he had all of them under his command, he ordered them to kill all the adults in Gately, leaving only its teen worshippers, Children of the Corn. So this is where Cameron, McGruff, and Mace is where he got the name from, which is based in the allusion to the god of the crops, or the goddess of the crops, as well as death. Because the god of the crops and the goddess of the crops, they also had counterparts, but they pretty much one and the same. Like, all these gods and goddesses, they're all one and the same. It's just that they're worshipped in different regions. So you could have like a Demeter and it'd be the same thing as Kali, which is the demonic goddess who always has a tongue out and it represents death and whatnot, so on and so forth. Brothers, when it comes to these celebrities where they throw up the horn, it's all a part of the programming. It's a part of the programming, especially in the initiation phase. Like, when these rappers get initiated into the entertainment industry and they throw up the horns, that tells you everything that you need to know about that world and what they have to do in order for them to be in a position that they're in. Like, him throwing up the horns, for the most part, it's not of his own conscience. He does it based off of the programming. Most of these rappers, celebrities are under deep levels of programming, just that we don't understand that because we see shit on the surface. And when I say we, I'm not talking about myself, obviously, but the masses, they see shit on the surface, so they take things based off of surface. Like, they don't necessarily go beyond it. They only go off of what they see from the artist. They don't really take the time out to understand like the true mechanisms of what they do, that world. You have to do research, you have to put things in proper context, so on and so forth. So you see a Cameron right here throwing up the horns, but he's throwing it up surreptitiously. They either throw it up surreptitiously or they just throw it up, but it's a part of the programming. Now, sometimes it's not part of the programming. It's based off of that person's willingness to throw it up because they really love that deity. They love the Baphomet or the goat god, whatever you want to call it. This is why the goat shit is being pushed so heavily in this society, because we in these last days, as well as the understanding of them being confederate with that belief system. Cameron, all these rappers, they worship the goat. I don't give a fuck what nobody think. Like, don't internalize nothing that you listen to when it comes to the music. Don't internalize any of this shit. You can't like gravitate towards any of these people because they're a part of something that you yourself should understand is not for you, but you should just appreciate the aspect of entertainment, and that's it. Like, certain people get offended when I do videos like this because, you know, they have a level of idolatry or connection with a certain artist, and it's really shameful. It's really shameful. And you shouldn't be incredulous to none of this shit. You should not be incredulous to none of this stuff, man. If you already understand the vibration of this world, then why should you be incredulous to the offshoots of it, the manifestations of it when it comes to rappers who throw up the horns or certain music videos or certain colors, you know, motifs? You shouldn't be incredulous to none of this shit. That's why I understand you got grown 40-year-old men who get mad at you when you bring this to them. No, Wu-Tang, they can never be Wu-Tang. Like, stop that, bro. You a grown ass man and you defending people that you don't know because you have some sort of connection to them. And I understand, but at the same time, we have to put things in proper context and compartmentalize shit. These are people that you don't know. Why are you worshiping them? Like, if it's something that you find to where you can substantiate it and bring it to somebody and they still don't want to take it, that's because they have a idolatrous connection to that artist or that person, whatever. That's why we gotta like take that shit down. We have to put things in proper context with what we assess and how we view things, how we gauge things. Give a fuck if it's a Jadakiss or they all are a part of the same thing. They all a part of the same shit. So you can't look at Jadakiss not doing that. He gangster, he tough. So what? Stop being so fucking simple-minded, man. Like, the power of the devil, the power of Satan is lies. So they do their best to deceive you with making you think that they're not on that type of time when they are. They play coy. That's what they do. I remember an interview where Cameron was asked about, you know, people saying, on the internet, they saying that you sacrifice your girlfriend. That's their way of undermining the intelligence of the people who understand what that world is about. They already know that that's what it is. It's just that they have to undermine the intelligence of those people to maintain their deception. That's what they do. That's what the fuck they do. So a grown ass person that's getting all mad about me bringing out this information just shows you that this is the vibration that we living in. Idolatry, wickedness, iniquity. Motherfuckers who don't necessarily know how to put things in proper context when it comes to, you know, their ire, who they love so much, who they infatuated with so much. That's why you gotta break that shit and just put things in proper context when it comes to listening to music. You cannot internalize none of this shit. You cannot allow it to be a source of edification for you because it's just music and these people are a part of something that's, you know, contrary to what you should be following, which is the law, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father. That's just what it is. But yeah, man, you see this album cover, Cameron throwing up the horns. You see the Enlightenment aesthetic with the yellowish, the orange, you know, that type of vibration going off because Cameron was initiated. He is an enlightener. And there's an influx of celebrities wearing yellow and orange. Pay attention to it. There's an influx of celebrities wearing yellow and orange, whether it be a yellow beanie or a yellow sweater that doesn't necessarily match with what they have on. And I know that sometimes, you know, people just wear that and it doesn't necessarily have to match. But for the most part, when you see an influx of it, you know that it's something. It is based in the understanding that these people are enlighteners. And in these last days, they emphasize it more. They're enlighteners. They're influencers. This is why they wear orange and yellow and shit like that to represent what position that they're at. That's why you, like, when you see that commercial, Taco Tuesday, for example, that's just one little example. It's just many of them. Like the Taco Bell commercial with LeBron James and Taco Tuesday. He has on a yellow sweater where he's screaming that out. and he goes in the field, say Taco Tuesday. Like, it just reminded me of like, yo, there's an influx of these celebrities wearing yellow. Why are they wearing yellow? Because they're enlighteners. It's not just orange, it's also yellow. So just pay attention to that. Like, look at these celebrities and you see like the influx of a lot of them. They wear orange and yellow. You know what I mean? So that's the world we living in, man. Like, you have to understand how to spot these things and maintain our spiritual eye. That's what the fuck it's about. Maintaining your spiritual eye. So when somebody brings this to you, you don't get all like, you know, like what? What are you talking about? You don't get incredulous because you understand. You understand the spirit. You understand the vibration. You see things. And when you see things and you put things in proper context, for the most part, it confirms it. So like if I'm seeing like a lot of these celebrities just, you know, casually wearing orange and yellow hats and shit like that, you know, to the regular person, that's nothing. They just wearing yellow and orange. But to me, I understand what that's about, especially if you see it running concurrent. Like you see a lot of them wearing it. And there's different aspects of it where you could tell that they just wearing that because they have to. It's like it represents something. You know what I mean? And sometimes they wear it to the point where it's stylish and it matches and it goes with what they're wearing. And sometimes you don't even have to, you know, yellow doesn't necessarily have to match with anything. I'm just saying, like, just pay attention to the influx of that color, yellow and orange, those colors. But it's important for us to just maintain that spiritual eye. I know I'm going on a tangent a little bit, but sometimes I get annoyed by the simplicity. I get annoyed by simple-minded people. I really get annoyed by that. And sometimes, you know, I have to understand how to be patient. And it's not like I'm sitting on this high hill like I know everything and anything like that, but like it'd be certain shit that could be easily grasped if you just put things in proper context. That's all I'm saying.